welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us on another trip to Nintendoland, our Nintendo podcast. Here at Rational
there's so many
Passions.
analogies I'm doing right now. There's a train choo-chooing. There's like me jogging, I think.
You can boat in, you can run in, all that fun stuff here in Nintendoland. I'm here. I'm Mike Burgess. I'm one of your hosts. I'm here with the Timmy to my Tommy Nook, Alex O'Neill. How you doing, Alex?
Doing great. I'm swindling, I guess, in those circumstances.
Swindling. We're the children of capitalism. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And we have a very special guest here today, Barrett Courtney from Kind of Funny. How you doing, Barrett?
Hello, I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk about Nintendo and all things Nintendo. God knows I haven't talked enough about Breath of the Wild 2 in the last few weeks.
I thought I could squeeze a little bit more out of you.
I think there's always more time to talk about more Breath of the Wild, especially Breath of the Wild 2. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we're kind of in the like post woes of E3 here. It just happened a few weeks ago. And we're gonna talk a little bit about it, but I don't think at this point we need to sit here and break down every single bit by bit, because I think plenty of people have done that. We did our reactions ourselves on Rational Passions. I'm sure on Kind of Funny there's plenty of Nintendo watch along reaction stuff as well.
Nah, we did nothing like that. We definitely did not put up like 35 videos within a week covering all of E3.
Yeah,
from Koch Media all the way to Nintendo. You know,
never forget Koch.
The highs and the lows.
You truly watched the most cursed. Gosh, Koch Media. I completely forgot about that.
Never forget.
Yeah,
I didn't even watch it, and I couldn't forget about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I watched it. It was rough. I'm glad we did not have to do anything like that, like a live reaction to that miserable show. But I at least figured, we don't have to sit, like I said, we don't have to sit here and break down every E3 thing, but there's still a lot of awesome announcements. And I think post week, there's probably still a lot of stuff on our mind, like big game announcements like Metroid Dread. And
you gotta talk about Metroid Dread.
And like Breath of the Wild 2, of course, was there. We had stuff like, a new WarioWare, a lot of old franchises nobody really thought were getting love, like we're here, like Advance Wars, a lot of cool stuff that spoke, like personally to me, who's like my prime Nintendo fandom is like GameCube, Game Boy Advance era, like Nintendo, because I was early teens. It was like that perfect storm of games that I just am nostalgic for. Like all got like, hey, we're just gonna give you all those games kind of in this direct, and that's kind of freaking rad that they're kind of finally doing it.
We talked about it in our post show. Like, to me, this is kind of like the Nintendo B team era. And a lot of it is like those 3DS developers that were making 3DS games are like, all right, this is our first wave where we got to carry a whole year of Switch. And I think they did it. Like, there's very easily a way that they could have shown even this lineup or like a similar one, and it couldn't carry a year like it could this year. But I think the way they showed everything here, the way everything kind of fits into really different niches, and the promise of more on the horizon. Like they have the perfect tease for like to keep you on the hook, right? Like they have exactly like the big guns are waiting. Like they mentioned Metroid Prime 4, they show Breath of the Wild 2, and of course, a Rabbids sequel as well, which is I cannot be understated.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. I think like let's. I want to give your moment here, Alex O'Neill. Like
please,
you said, Metroid Dread.
This is my plea, and I did this on the stream, but I got to do it here in the official Nintendo capacity. Dead Cells people, all you Hollow Knight fans, I am amongst you. I love Hollow Knight. Lord knows, Silk Song, whenever it happens, it'll be magic. All you people that have played every Metroidvania that has come out, for like, you played Axiom Verge and it opened you a whole new world. Chasm really spoke to you specifically. Maybe the Metroidvania parts of Spelunky are the things that got their hooks into you. I don't know. I don't care. Just show up for Metroid Dread. I just need you to show up for this one game. It has been so long. No one buys these games. We're in a different world than 19 years ago when Metroid Fusion came out. We need you to show up for this. Please just buy Metroid Dread. Even if it's like, oh, it's $60. You bought $60 way worse games for $60. All right. Like, please just, even if it's like 10 hours long, I don't care. Just buy it for me. Do it. Metroid Dread. Anyway, it looks great. I love the idea of Metroid Dread, the actual game. It seems like they said like there was a design doc for this game that it couldn't work on DS, and so they waited, and then it couldn't work on the next thing they tried to do, and so they waited. I don't believe any of that. I just think that like Mercury Steam showed up and they heard the word Dread. It's like, all right, let's kind of put the pieces of history back together and try and build a Metroid game around that concept. And I think they just immediately convey that so well. And then once you understand how mechanically it works in these areas where you're kind of being hunted, it's like, oh yeah, this makes total sense. It fits the motif of Metroid really well, because there are plenty of creatures that have hunted Samus in the past, especially across specific locations. It just sounds great. And Metroid 5, they like threw it on the table, I feel like, when they start a trailer with Metroid 5, because that's how Metroid Fusion starts. It starts with Metroid 4. It's a big deal, and it feels like a big deal, and so like they conveyed that same feeling to me here. Awesome. I'm so excited. I'm super stoked for that, because I echo a lot of what you said, because I like Metroid games a lot. I mean, not as much the 2D stuff, but Prime for sure. The Prime games, again, coming from that GameCube era, I enjoyed those quite a lot. And like I think like a lot of people are doing, which I appreciate a lot, like I kind of seeing like in these last weeks, like the Wii, like the Metroid Game Boy games that are on Wii U eShop, like skyrocketed in sales, and I'm seeing all kind of Twitter people. I was like, I'm probably gonna be doing that myself too at some point. I already did. I did it earlier this year because I was like,
I would love to
ahead of the game.
Love to just kind of like refresh my brain on some of those cool games, and specifically like Zero Mission, because I don't really think I ever played specifically Zero Mission, but I have played like the very original Metroid. Way back when, so yeah, like it's just cool to see Metroid obviously come back in the 2D form, like it originated from, but also like seeing it also implement all the like things that are in modern Metroid games, that like and it taking some of it for itself and like putting it back into Metroid, and I just like a lot of that stuff, like seeing specifically a lot of like the momentum and movement stuff was really speaking to me in that presentation, like even in the trailer and in the direct, and also in the post-show like treehouse sections they did with it, of like seeing like Samus just having like a slide and a dash, and having like the counter move from the 3DS one, but also having like a better version of that where she can like counter and like keep her momentum and keep running, and after she does a counter, so it just doesn't stop the movement and you can kind of keep moving. Just a lot of stuff like that, just like really cool. I really like the like presentation they were doing of like having these like they showed a boss battle, and like seeing these moments of like mid battle, like it like changing camera views and like making Samus like feel much more of like this cool badass character, and like actually presenting that more in the game was like super dope. I can't wait for that game. Bear, are you a big Metroid guy?
I'm not, and I think that's something that gets people kind of assume of myself, because I am a big Nintendo fan, but Metroid has just never been my foray. So, but I'm watching some of the Treehouse stuff here because I haven't watched any of it yet, and it is one of those ones where it's like, I feel like
there's a hit or miss chance, like it can really click with you, Barrett. Like I totally understand your trepidation.
I remember what was the one that they announced for 3DS at a Treehouse back in like 2017 or 2018, like
Samus
after.
Returns. Yeah,
I played Samus Returns for work when I was working at IGN, and I remember like enjoying it, not enough to continue to play it on my own time, but it was one of those things of like, man, like I do really feel like I missed out on Metroid, and so maybe Dread is the one. yeah, maybe Dread is the one that like I finally fully get into it, especially because it's on Switch, and stuff like that. So yeah, unfortunately, I feel like a fake Nintendo gamer boy with my lack of Metroid knowledge. And especially because like so many people were tweeting at me when they were showing the Treehouse stuff, like, "Yo, you watching the Metroid footage on the Treehouse?" And I'm like, "No,
It's
honestly, no."
Like the parts of the game that I think you would really like, obviously it's the older games are like great 16-bit, like great crunchy pixels, just great feeling gameplay. Metroidvanias are just great because you get new power-ups and traversal gets cooler and cooler. But like for you, I think like the atmosphere and the feeling of isolation, like Samus is always alone and it's never bothered her, and she always gives like this very great nonchalant, like she doesn't give a fuck about what's happening around her.
She's
Just how she
badass,
animates.
bro.
And I think
I'm watching footage of the Treehouse where she like defeats one of those like weird demon dog fucking things, and she literally just kneels over it like, "What's up, buddy?"
Yep.
It's cool. It's a cool
particular era around her.
Yeah, just seeing that kind of stuff, because like being those older games, there was some of that, but it wasn't like they were older games. They didn't have the technology to show that stuff, and I think like. In some respects, the Prime games, I don't know if you ever tried any of the Metroid Prime games, they were also much better about like showing Samus as like a person and not just like it's a robot suit like running around. Like here's like
not so much an avatar, but like an actual character.
Yeah, like here's like a person, and like she doesn't really speak that much in it still, but like you can still tell like in that footage for Dread, like she's like a badass, like kind of stoic character who like has more going on than just like just running around.
There's more going on below the surface, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm stoked that they're taking some of that stuff that was in Prime and like putting it in like a 2D Metroid game.
I will say like cool. For folks out there like who are listening and maybe want to play Metroid Dread but want to play other Metroid games as well, like if you're looking for a first Metroid game to play, my personal opinion, I would say you could play Zero Mission. I think if like you want to do a 2D Metroid, I would even like jump to that before Super Metroid. It is a little bit older.
Yeah, Super Metroid's older, but I also think like it is on. I'm pretty sure it's on Nintendo Switch.
It's on the online service. Yeah, so
sure
I mean, if that's what's available, for sure, play that. Because you can find Super Metroid everywhere. But if I think the best first Metroid game to play to get like all of it, honestly, and it's not one of the 2D ones, it's Metroid Prime 1 if you can get your hands on it, just because like that game is like a 10 out of 10 in 2021 guaranteed. Like it holds up better than most games of that era for sure. So that's the one I would say to play.
Yeah, Metroid Dread. So yeah, I can't wait for it. Yeah, and I definitely recommend people check out the Treehouse stuff they did after the direct, because there was a lot of cool. They break down some of the gameplay stuff more in that, and you see like some of the like the boss battle in particular is really cool now that's set up, and they talk more about like how like the robot character that kind of chases Samus a lot in the trailers. They kind of break down more how that works, and like
there's like different kinds of Emmys.
There's different kinds. There's different kind of Emmys, the robots, and they're also like there are specific weapons that Samus will get throughout the game that she can use to take them down. Like, so there actually are enemies you can take down at certain points in the game, but it seems like it's more like slightly more like a scripted kind of moment, so to speak. At least that's how they kind of described it in there. So that I found that interesting, that they are like a present threat, but it seems like in a Metroidvania style, you will find weapons or things that you can use to take them down.
Yeah,
which is cool. I'm super stoked for that. That's October, so it's not that far away, really, in the grand scheme of things.
No.
So close. I'll also say this because this was actually before Dread was shown, and we didn't have the time, so just to quickly bring it up, they put Kazuya from Tekken and Smash. He seems crazy broken because I was watching some actual streamers and like Smash players and like the Twitter going off, and he just seems like crazy broken because he like Sakurai went full like turned the fighting game character crank all the way and just like went like, all right, Ryu just got like some quarter circles from Street Fighter, and that's cool. But like it wasn't like a dramatic shift, I think. Compared to Kazuya, where like Kazuya, they like almost like put like his whole move set from Tekken and translate into Smash, and it's kind of wild, like how well he works. from
it's
I'm
awesome.
hearing people saying, because it's just like you can like like literally like do full on fighting games. Like I can stun lock a person in place from their shield, and then like just like do like a 6-hit combo, and then like mid air they're stuck, and he can just keep moving and just like spike them immediately off the stage. Like it just seems completely wild. So that's cool. We didn't get to. I didn't get to check them out. I don't think you did either, Alex.
No, not yet.
And I don't know if you did it all, Barrett. Probably not.
Yeah, I haven't touched Smash Brothers in probably 2 years.
Hell yeah.
Damn. We usually play every DLC.
The last time I played was like when Joker came to Smash.
Nice.
And I checked out that, and I was like, man, I'm not good at this character, and it sucks because I really like him. So I'll stick to the Sword Boy Cloud or Link.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was the last time I touched that game.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel about like when these fighting game characters. Like I think they're cool conceptually. They're just a little complex enough that I'm just like, nah.
Sure. I like them. I like what they add to the game, and I like they always work better as an entryway for me to get into their thing. Sure. I would be more willing to try out Tekken if I like how Kazuya feels in Smash. Yeah,
I'm sure that's kind of what they're going for.
Yeah.
Excuse me, for sure. Like introducing these like older fighting game franchises that have been around for years, but maybe don't have as much of a limelight as Smash does because it's all Nintendo characters. So like them using that to like pave the way for these fighting game characters is cool.
Yeah, totally.
I didn't put it specifically down here, but I just wanted to shout out that I got a big W with Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. God, yes. The dream.
I was so happy for you, Mike. It felt good.
But just for your reference, Bear, like I was like talking about that the whole time leading up to this
Literally
thing of like that's been a running thing for me of just like I wanted a new Monkey Ball game for so long.
We like did a viewpoints earlier this year where we played this like Monkey Ball.
Yes,
there's
a game on Steam on early access called Rolled Out, and it's basically like hey, an indie team came because Sega isn't making a Monkey Ball game, so they're just doing it themselves. And that one's still pretty cool. Like they're still making updates for it, and it like it has like its own like almost Steam Workshop kind of thing where like people can go make their own custom like Monkey Ball stages. It's cool, but
the hankering was real.
The hankering was real. So they announced.
I was 26 years old when I learned that Monkey Ball and Ape Escape were not the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's what it hit you.
This E3 where I was like,
different monkeys.
Those are
different monkeys.
Different monkey things.
Spike.
Yeah. Yeah, Spike. Different. Yeah, again because that was like a big game for bringing GameCube up again. The Prodigal Son.
That was like Christmas Day when I got my GameCube. We got Luigi's Mansion, Super Smash Bros. Melee, and Super Monkey Ball. Mm-hmm. we played the hell out of Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah, and this is just like the thing they should have done, because I know they did some HD port of like a not good Monkey Ball game. I think like last year it was like the Wii one. That was not very good. And this is just like, hey, we're taking
Banana Blitz HD in 2019.
Yeah. And this is just like, hey, we're taking the actual good Monkey Ball games that came before that one, giving them like an HD graphical upgrade and putting it all on one package, and it's like 300 stages.
It's a lot of Monkey Balls.
Oh wow,
it's a lot.
It's a lot of content.
Yes, and so I'm super stoked for that. That was it was just a very fun.
It was a win for everyone.
A fun game, and I'm very happy. They don't even need to make a new one now. They gave me still something I want, which is just.
I will say they got us with the like when they're doing like the little like headlines in their directs,
right.
And it was like the bananas at first, but then it said like the 20-year anniversary, and so it was like both Blessing and I were like Donkey Kong, but what?
Old as hell.
What is it? But it's bananas. Like what is happening right now?
Yeah.
So they fucking got us with that, but. but I'm very stoked for y'all Monkey Ball fans out there.
Yeah, I'm curious. Yeah, because I was gonna bring up like some no shows that like didn't make it as surprising. I know there was a kind of like a rumor of like some kind of Donkey Kong game that was gonna show up here. And it's like
I was hoping. I was really excited.
I wasn't expecting it though. Like we had gotten like those kind of rumblings of there's like a part of the team from the Mario Odyssey team working on a 2D Donkey Kong game, which might go back to kind of country kind of vibes and stuff like that. And it's like more and more people were ramping up like, oh, it's going to be revealed at E3. And I was like, the way that had leaked or whatever, it felt like it was still very early stages. So I was not expecting that. So when the bananas popped up, I was like really confused. And then when Monkey Ball popped up a second later, I was like, that makes way more sense. So I wasn't like, I love my big monkey boy. So it was sad to kind of not see him in a big kind of platform, but I wasn't expecting that Odyssey 2D Donkey Kong game to be revealed.
Yeah, to show up. Yeah, that's kind of my thing too. Like you said, it feel like it came like too quick out of nowhere for me to be like, this couldn't have, because it feels like another big thing, which I think we all agree that like it probably wasn't going to be here, but like Switch Pro has been like weeks and weeks of build up to this thing existing or not, and I feel like.
We still don't know.
And we still don't know. But I feel like it is that thing where like it's been talked about so long that it has to be something where like this just like it appeared, like I feel like not even like
it's just not the time
weeks,
yet.
Weeks before the show, so it's like I don't know if this is a thing or not, but it would be cool.
Yeah. And it makes sense that maybe it was the plan down at some point that is the timeline that it could have been, but it's just not anymore.
Like earlier this year.
And things have changed clearly, and a lot of times these things don't necessarily catch up when things change. They just kind of are the original story. So it happens. We just we just are in that void of like knowing but not knowing.
It's gonna be a weird thing. I think like I still want it to be a thing. I think it is a thing.
It's for sure something.
Yeah,
but maybe it's just the Switch 2 at this point, because by next year it'll have been 5 years, and at that point it's time for a new Nintendo console.
Wild to think about.
Yeah, totally. It is wild. It's the best 5 years Nintendo's ever had, like easily.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which is crazy.
Yeah,
since like 1988 to 1993, it's the best 5 years Nintendo's ever had.
Yeah. And I think they're pretty primed for another good year if they were.
Yeah, for sure. They're set. Like they're good forever as far as I'm concerned.
They're kind of set for this year, and even like with like a few of the announcements we have for next year, like they're already. I feel like they're pretty set.
Even if like they end up putting out a second thing, like as a second additional console, and they just kind of transition it into that, and games only work on one thing or the other. They'll be fine. It'll do well if it's like this first thing. Like
I think that's where they're at. Like I was watching today, the day we're recording this, the Jeff Grubb, the man himself, the legend, the Phlox himself,
the heavyweight champ.
He just did his first show for Giant Bomb today, and it was really good. It's kind of what he's been doing for like the Summer Game Mess, where he just kind of gets on stream and
Grub Snacks, right?
Yeah, Grub Snacks. Yep. He's just like answers some questions, and he had a very good take, which I'm going to steal from him right now. He's not going to watch this anyways. Who cares?
I'm going to tweet him. He follows me on Twitter, so I'll make him watch it.
I'll tweet him too and not tell him anything about this conversation.
I'll be like,
Jeff, really old.
Jeff, you coming for these locks? You coming for these locks, man? You coming for the throne? Watch the throne.
No. Oh yeah, look out. But he gave the idea of just like the Switch Pro would be something that's more so sold directly to people like us who are like way into games and are gonna pretty much buy it, regardless, because we're just that type where like
we're suckers.
Yeah, it's suckers. Yeah, but also in that kind of go around that like we would probably buy that stuff but also like sell back our stuff of like there'll probably be a lot of people who go and buy a Switch Pro and also probably trade in their older Switch or like a Switch Lite or something, and then that would go down to like just like a general person that wouldn't necessarily be going out and buying a console day one, and then that would kind of like it would spread it out in that way of like those people are going to like end up getting those kind of blowbacks because we're the hardcore people and
trickle down economics is a prime example of how it would work.
Yes
perfect
exactly.
Grub Snacks Max analogy.
Yeah, triple death champ. Yeah, 100%. And that's like, he's totally right. He's like, yeah, that's a good point. Like they could kind of just drop this in the fall or drop it early next year, and like it would still be fine. Like because their games are still selling. Their games are still selling crazy well. And, and like people like us will go buy that thing, and then
and like Splatoon 3 is going to do great.
Yeah,
Breath of the Wild 2 is going to do incredible. Like. Yeah. And you know, like Mario Kart 9, you know, as soon as whenever that shows up, it's like, all right, there's the millions. You know, here's all the money. You know, like they're fine. They'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll be fine. And the Switch Pro will come when it wants to come. You know what I mean?
If it comes out, like if it's March 2022 is Switch Pro or Switch 2 or whatever, and Breath of the Wild 2 again, like we come full circle 5 years later, then you know it'll all be fine again. Nintendo is like creating like a summoning circle with this ritual or something.
Yeah, I think some of it is also just made from us who are like looking for every. You know,
we're looking for patterns because we're obsessed.
We're looking for patterns because the leaker, like people who leaker and have some inside info are like.
But here's the thing with the pattern with the Nintendo is that there is no pattern.
There is no.
Yeah, exactly. We're all fools forever even believing that we can predict what they're going to do.
Just accept that you're on Nintendo's wild ride.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think let's just get into the other big one, which is, you know, Breath of the Wild 2, the sequel to Breath of the Wild. We got a pretty, even though it was like a short little tease, it was a pretty juicy tease, I would still say.
Dense. It was a dense teaser.
And yeah, I know Barrett specifically, you have a good 50-minute video of you and Tim Geddes going over your theories.
It's a quick 50-minute video on this minute and 50
honestly,
long.
if it flies by, I will be honest.
And
I was along for the ride for sure. I'm curious, Barrett. It's been weeks. So it's been like 2 weeks since then.
Yeah.
Have you been ruminating on it? Have you been trying not to think about it?
Just like Breath of the Wild in general.
Yeah, the sequel to The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it was like, like that week and like even like a little after, like I was like, man, like thinking about it all the time, and like at this point, like to give context, like the Sunday following Nintendo's E3, I went home to Cleveland for a week to hang out with family. And it was like, I went home and then I showed like my dad the trailer because he's really into video games. And then like, that's probably like the last I've really like thought about it. Like I'm able to kind of like walk away and kind of just like have it in the back of my mind now that we know, right, of like, all right, they're slating it for next year. There's still not really a solid date yet. It's definitely not coming this year. Like there was like a good unhealthy couple weeks before E3. It was like, man, like we could be getting it this year. We could be getting the Switch Pro this year. And it's like, all I'm thinking about. And so like the fact that like we have a little bit more of a solid plan with Breath of the Wild 2, of just like having a better idea of when it's actually coming out. I've been able to kind of like walk away and not think about it too much and let the angry internet nerds who get very upset at my theories on Breath of the Wild 2 just leave them to their own devices and be very upset at very fun theories that, like I said in our video, could be very wrong, could be spot on. Either way, I'm going to eat it up. So like whatever. But
yeah. It's like regardless of
just having fun.
Yeah, just having fun. To just like sometimes it's fun to just do that.
That's what theories are.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most fun.
It's just fun to do that stuff. Sometimes it doesn't need to be right or wrong. So
all you fucking Mephisto kids out there, you know who you are. You need to just fucking chill now. Literally, you two are the only people that would get that, and I'm so glad you're here.
No. Like, well, maybe in the IP realm.
In the IP realm. Yeah. In the IP realm.
Trying to make that joke to Jared. He doesn't know.
Yeah, Jared didn't give a fuck about Mephisto.
Yeah. He probably know what Mephisto was, but he'd know he would probably be referencing.
Yeah, he wouldn't know about the WandaVision fiasco of that.
And then also Loki for like an episode or two where people were like bringing it back.
He's Mephisto.
Yeah.
It's what is it? It's Kang Gang now, right?
It's Kang Gang. Kang Gang that's where we're at.
But yeah, anyway.
So I do want to say, like, as our first time, Mike, you and I getting to talk about it. Like, obviously, there's a lot in that trailer, and you know, I don't know if you'll have footage up for this part, probably, I imagine. But like the things I wanted to call out, just obviously, there's so much. I love emotionally the moment, right? The moment, the unveil in the sky where he's falling. Like I love how powerful that is emotionally, because it evokes Skyward Sword in a really positive way. Like I think that game, unfortunately, you know, for better and for worse, has like become the butt of a lot of jokes, and there are cool parts about it, and this was one of the cool parts about it, and it is something that marries itself to the concept of Breath of the Wild so well, right? Of like wide open skies, and you can almost feel like they really wanted to do that with Breath of the Wild or with Skyward Sword. It just didn't work out, you know, and that game's so different and weird. Like it is still wonderful, the continuity of Breath of the Wild, just in general. Like I've been playing it again recently, but just like the fact that there's just no, even going inside out of buildings, like going anywhere, going up, going down, no matter what, it never breaks. So just like seeing that acknowledged in the sky here in some way, shape, and form, Breath of the Wild 2, anyone that loves that first game, I think, knows immediately the impact of that level of possibility. It's like, it feels magical. It felt like a truly magical moment.
And I think a bit. And I think like one takeaway from me, just like a simple thing, not necessarily a simple thing, but I think like seeing how much they still respect like like what were clear, pretty core philosophies with like Breath of the Wild from a gameplay standpoint of just like I think like solving a problem where like I'm a person, I can climb up anything and get up super high, then I'm super up high, or even on a cliffside, I can just easily boom glider and just go and continue it, instead of like a lot of open world games where you might be up there and it's like, oh shit, now I gotta walk around this awkward way and figure out some direction, like
find a way to cheese it, and
exactly.
Like that,
or I'm gonna like weirdly jump up this side of this cliff or whatever the fuck, like just showing that quick scene of like Link like turning into liquid and like hitting a bottom of a floor and popping out of that, and like having it be there and be like, oh yeah, of course that makes a ton of sense, because you're going into these sky islands, like it's just easy to just do that, because how the hell are you gonna like glide and awkwardly climb up it some way?
Breath of the Wild 1, climbing shit. Breath of the Wild 2, morphing through shit.
Exactly. Just phase on through the other side.
And like, you know, if there is some stuff of like, you know like talking about like hopefully like some more kind of dungeon-esque things, or like underground things could still be a thing, because I know that's like a lot of what people were thinking originally before we saw the Sky Island stuff. Like that just makes a ton of sense of like, oh, I'm way underground, this is gonna be a pain in the ass to get. Oh wait, I can just boop and just kind of like shoot through the ground, and then I just like come back up in the ground, because like they even show like a scene which could potentially be like underground, I feel like, in there, where there's like there's like the ceiling like looking, it's almost like a like even attacking Link, and he has like the weird flamethrower.
Where's the flamethrower?
So what were you gonna say, Barrett? Just with the Sky Islands and being in the sky.
Oh yeah, with the Skyward Sword stuff, and it's like I've talked to death about my theories and stuff of like how things could possibly connect to Skyward Sword, how Skyward Sword could possibly be very important in what Breath of the Wild 1 and 2 could potentially be about as a whole. But one thing is definitely like a fact, is that like Hidemaru Fujibayashi, who had directed a lot of like the handheld Zelda games for a while, like Oracle and Minish Cap and Phantom Hourglass. Skyward Sword was his first mainline 3D Zelda game that he wrote and directed, and so like I truly think he really believed in that vision, and I think there is some revisionist history about what people feel with Skyward Sword, because there's a lot of hype around that game when it first came out, and then people soured on it later. I was definitely on the opposite end, where it came out and I didn't like it, and then years later I was like, oh, there's actually a lot of cool stuff going on here. I think no matter what ends up happening in this game, like he definitely like believed in that vision and wants to bring aspects of those of that game back, of just like the kind of like the scale and the presentation of it, and I'm really excited for that. And there's just like I said, like Skyward Sword needed to happen for Breath of the Wild to happen, and Fujibayashi, like, I think really took to heart of like what people were interested when it came to Zelda, what people weren't interested in anymore. Even just like little dumb things where it was terrible in Skyward Sword, but like the stamina wheel is in Skyward Sword, and it's like way better implemented in Breath of the Wild. And there's just like little things like that. Even like game mechanic wise, that I think that he really wanted to dive deep into. And now that they have this kind of the attention of everybody again with Breath of the Wild, I think that he'll be able to kind of fully see his vision with whatever he like really wanted to see with Skyward Sword. I'm very excited about that.
Like things that we don't think about, we're probably not going to have to talk about, right? Because we just kind of take them for granted at some point. But like, there's probably going to be crafting in Breath of the Wild too. You're probably like that flamethrower thing on your shield is probably something you can craft and attach to it. And it might break just like a lot of the shield stuff and crafting stuff that you could do in Breath of the Wild.
That'll be perfectly fine.
In Skyward Sword. And that'll be perfectly fine.
Yep.
Yeah. And you'll find stuff and like it'll have more utility and use, which will give you more reason to fight things. There might even be like skills you unlock, like a skill tree, maybe not necessarily tied to experience, but like things that you find in the environments. Secrets will be more rewarding in that like you're not just gonna get fucking Korok seeds. I think you're probably just gonna get more stuff that might help tools or items or equipment.
There's a lot of great ideas in Skyward Sword, and the only
all that stuff is Skyward Sword stuff.
The only two that never aged well. There's a lot of stuff that didn't age well, but like the two that like were never good ever was any time you'd pick up an item that you'd already picked up, the game re-explaining to you what it was, and then also just the motion controls and
the motion controls, but also dowsing.
Dowsing. But like mainly the motion controls, and not even just the motion controls themselves, because that was a very different era, and they wanted to like really implement the Wii and like the Wii Mote Plus or whatever the fuck it was called. And they really wanted to like show that off, and it wasn't even that was the problem. The problem was like the main core of like what 3D Zeldas are for the most part about are the dungeons, and unfortunately a lot of those dungeons had to be designed around motion controls and stuff like that, and unfortunately they're just not very interesting throughout the entire game, which is unfortunate. A lot of cool styles, a lot of different vibes with all the different dungeons, which is typical for Zelda, but just like on a gameplay level design kind of thing, they're not very interesting. And so besides that, like there's a lot of cool ideas in Skyward Sword that I would love to see come back. And like you're saying, like crafting makes sense, especially with like the whole cooking system in Breath of the Wild. Like I think that makes complete sense to like iterate on that and bring some of those ideas back from Skyward Sword and improve on them, and like open people up to like these are some cool ideas. Which again, I don't think it's a mistake that Skyward Sword is specifically the game being ported for an HD remaster to the Switch, and we're not hearing about any other games currently. I think they really want to sell on Skyward Sword and some of those ideas to hopefully prepare some people for Breath of the Wild too.
I think there's direct links for sure.
I hope so. And I think the only other general thing about the trailers, and you and I discussed it, is just like definitely feels like it's very misleading. It feels like there's a lot of stuff in here that is like anytime a trailer hides a character's face, you shouldn't trust anything in that trailer. And so like I think that's all part of the fun, and so like I'm along through the ride, but I've been burned by Last of Us trailer once too many times, so I know that is a perfect example of if you can't see a character's face in a trailer, you shouldn't trust anything in that trailer. and I just thought of that. It wasn't intentional. I just did think of that. But I think like that shows that they have plenty that they are keeping really close to the chest, which is a good thing. Means like when we do see the thing in this game, the hook, it's going to be like, oh fuck yes, all right, whatever.
And like we still don't even know what title. And
exactly,
that's
they're not telling us the name. Red flag number 2.
They know they're like it's going to give you a cue of like what you're going to be doing in the game, and that's I think they know like the second they reveal that trailer, major fucking Zelda nerds are going to put it together in like just a couple of minutes of like, oh shit, this is going to be the hook. This is going to be what this game is about. Right. Especially with like the history of Breath of the Wild and Skyward Sword and Hidemaru Fujibayashi. Like I think there is something integral there that if they reveal the title, that would be like, oh, okay, cool, this is what the game is.
Yeah.
It's probably that it's like 2 time periods. It's probably like something not as crazy as we're thinking. Like, maybe it's something along those lines. But I
think it's absolutely definitely 2 time periods.
So
even removing my crazy theory out of it, like, yeah. That's what we're getting.
And I think that perfectly ties into the title, the player character, a lot of things. Like, it'll answer a lot of questions once we know all that stuff. But that also, I feel like, gives me the inclination that when they reveal that, the game will not be that far off, which is exciting.
I tell you straight up, I would be totally fine if it's like, hey, we have a direct that's like focused on the sequel, and we're going to reveal everything, and then the game will be out like a month later, or like don't even give, like, they can wait that long to like show it off for me, and I'd be totally
just give it to me all at once, and then it's out in a few weeks.
Knowing Nintendo, I could see them doing something like that, and then it's like 2 months later or 3 months later, because it's similar to what they did with Nintendo Switch, and when they kind of re-revealed Breath of the Wild, it was like, all right, like, it's like, that was like, man, I think that was October 2016, because I think that was like
that was the Switch teaser was October, and then they did the press conference in January,
right,
and that's when the Breath of the Wild.
I just remember that being a crazy week, because it was my first week working at IGN, and like
the Red
Dead 2 got revealed, and then this whole Switch teaser thing, and it was like the craziest week to start.
What a good way to come in on it, though.
I know,
seriously.
And Mike, I feel like I
rails.
I took all the rails here.
No.
Did you have anything you want to add for the trailer?
You're totally fine. The one thing that was on my mind while you guys were talking was like when you brought up crafting, and just like how much sense that made, like, because there were a lot of things in the trailer of like.
It's like I said, we take it for granted.
Yeah, because you noticed like Link has a new glider that he's on. If I don't know if you guys noticed that, like, because the glider in normal Breath of the Wild is kind of smaller. This one he had is like much bigger,
a little bit wider,
and it had like little like kind of like cloth trails on it, like tassels on it. So it's a completely new one. So you said that, I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe you can craft like better versions of items and stuff. Like maybe you can get a better glider, and that gives you
just
stuff.
Upgrade them, stuff like that. Far Cry,
like you said, like there's that weird flamethrower attachment. Maybe like certain shields, you can make those kind of weird attachments to like on them to upgrade them and use. They could totally do stuff like that, and that'd be.
It's funny because the flamethrower looks to be on, like, if you look closely enough, it looks to just be like on
another shield.
Yeah,
it's on another shield for sure, but it's hard to tell, and I know it's probably a better shield, but like it reminds me of the pot lid from Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
or the traveler shield, like the basic circular
it's like
shield.
A super basic one, that they just like stuck it on. I'm super stoked for that, and I think like 2 timelines would be interesting. I'm just curious of like if it'll be, because that could still go either way. I feel like.
Oh, totally.
It could be a past, like going to the past, or it could be a future. Because they
could Ocarina of Time us, like, which would be, I think, the dopest shit they could do, where like Link tries to go back in time, but instead he goes forward like 10,000 years or whatever, and it's like, it's like Breath of the Wild
even
originally.
More fucked up.
It's like way more fucked now, and that would be awesome. That would be super sick.
Yeah, because it totally could. Because like you see, like the castle gets lifted up into the sky with all the crazy tendrils, and it could just be like this is a Link that fucked up. Link and Zelda went under, like in that first trailer, and they kind of went down there and awakened something and fucked up, and now you're going to some alternate Link to like stop that from happening.
Some
or
descendant
like
of the spirit of the hero.
Yeah.
It could be anything. Like this, what a wonderful time to be alive.
That's
it
what
could be anything.
It's still like that's why it's a juicy. Like it was really short.
This is why theories are fun, you guys.
Yeah, and it's exciting because it's like Breath of the Wild is like mysterious and fun again. That was something that like I kind of like felt on my like one of my more recent replays of Breath of the Wild, because I play it so much. Is just like it doesn't have that same feeling of like when you first open it up in 2017. You have no fucking idea what you're getting into, and this trailer definitely like, oh man, like I'm excited about Zelda again, and it has definitely felt way too long since I've been so stoked on the mysteries of the Legend of Zelda.
Yeah,
like The Ghibli comparisons are, or Ghibli, I don't know how I'm saying it. They're very apt.
It's either way. It doesn't fucking matter.
No game has ever felt like more like an adventure, like an anime adventure. Like more has it ever felt like Inuyasha is real than when I'm like running around in Breath of the Wild, where it's like, yeah, a demon dog and a teenage girl could totally go off on an adventure. Like that's what it feels like. It feels that truly magical, and nothing ever has come close for me. So yeah, it's like to know that is coming again in some like crazy now in the sky. It's like, all right, hell yeah, I'm there. Day one.
Mm-hmm. And just I'm just super curious how
it's all gonna come together.
Yeah, how it's all gonna come together, and just like seeing like the not only like Link, obviously all the stuff going with Link in the Sky Islands, but just like how like even basic stuff we came to like become accustomed to, like Barrett's saying, like, I was just kind of used to seeing a Talus. I know where the Taluses are in Breath of the Wild, or I know where these like encampments are, but like just seeing in that trailer, like here's a Talus with like a goblin like fortress on it, and he's like moving around, and that's just a thing now in the game. Like how many other stuff like will they take that like that were like normal things we took for granted in Breath of the Wild that we just know could be like see it again in this new fashion in some new updated way and be like, holy shit, this is nuts. I'm excited to just see like even basic stuff like that, just because like Breath of the Wild is such a cool
like more Zelda enemies coming back to like Dark Nuts I think are going to appear in this, and I haven't even consciously thought about what a Breath of the Wild Dark Nut looks like, and I know Barrett from your reaction, like you probably haven't either, and it's like that's so exciting. Like I could imagine like a real sword fight, like a real ass sword fight in Breath of the Wild could be super cool.
Don't get my fucking hopes up there, please.
But like, or a like which we mentioned could be that upside down creature.
It pretty much could be, yeah. And
or a ton of other like Deku nuts and Deku scrubs. Like I feel like we're definitely gonna see those. Just like they just need to kind of fill in the gaps for the basic downstairs world, and then all the mystery can be upstairs, and then the way they'll intertwine those two things will just be that'll be the game, and sounds good.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Next year,
2022 can't come soon enough.
It's true.
All the games of the years are coming out in 2022.
Yeah. We still got plenty. I think we still got plenty of awesome games this year, though. Like Nintendo's
that's the best part.
Nintendo's got a pretty solid year because we got Skyward Sword in like a couple weeks.
Yeah, Metroid Dread. I want to say like for Metroid Dread, for people that don't have a point of reference, Michael Damiani from Easy Allies had like the best comparison. That's like if in 15 years from now, Star Fox Grand Prix came out and people were like, oh, Star Fox Grand Prix. That's what Metroid Dread coming out now is like. It's like buck wild.
Totally. It is pretty insane. And just like so many, like I just think it's cool that like so many niche Nintendo fans are like getting theirs this year, of like WarioWare, like you said, a 2D Metroid, like Advance Wars.
Advance Wars also
another
crazy.
One, like another big surprise was like that Mario Party Superstars, like
hell yeah,
that like it's like a cool like sort of remake, but also just like a greatest hits remake, which I think is even cooler idea. All that stuff, just so much cool stuff. But there were some things that, like I think we talked about Donkey Kong a little bit, that just like didn't show up at all. Like, I think one was Bayonetta 3, which I'm still kind of surprised that's like nowhere.
It's gotta be like close, right? Like,
yeah. It's just like a weird anomaly. Like I don't know, because it
might not be,
because it just doesn't know it. It feels weirder and weirder as it gets longer, and like you see things like not just Nintendo focus, but Square focus and Platinum focus with Babylon's Fall, and it's just like there's no way they've been spending all their time on that game.
Yeah, I like Babylon's Fall looks like it went backwards. It became a less interesting game. Yeah. Maybe all that good game juice went into Bayonetta. You know what I mean? Like that's what's been going on.
Like, I'm sure it'll come out eventually, and like it'll have its moment to like blow out, and they'll show it, and it'll come, and it'll be sooner or later. But I just kind of am surprised we just haven't gotten like any kind of update or.
With the vagueness of the Nintendo 2022 lineup, it does feel like something that could fit pretty comfortably into that.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. That's like one, like I feel like the next time we see it, it's gonna make sense why we haven't heard from it. That's got to be the only reason.
And like honestly, with the Babylon's Fall stuff, like, is it really surprising? Because here's my thing: is like I know there's a lot of Platinum Games love in the IP realm. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, not necessarily from the two of us.
No. But it's one of the, like, in the same year that they released Bayonetta 2, they also released The Legend of Korra.
Yep.
I forgot that they were the ones that did that Transformers Devastation game.
Yep. That was the same team as the Korra team. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like one of those things of like, yeah, like they probably have their solid Bayonetta 1, Bayonetta 2 team working on Bayonetta 3, but like Babylon's Fall is like also it seems to be like that was like how that game changed from what I remember, like hearing from like the E3 whispers and stuff like on Twitter, was that like that might have been a Square Enix call of like a lot of those changes and a lot of those like those things that were very different from the last time we saw that game. So yeah, it's very interesting of where Platinum Games in general is at right now.
Yeah,
so very interesting.
Yeah. And I think it speaks to like I think just not as like Square as a whole, but I think just like gaming as a whole right now, or like I think a lot of studios are just trying to find like their live service game a hit, because all they need is one, and then they have money. Like they're just in the money and are kind of set for a while. At least that's what I've seen from a lot of like stuff. Like I think of like, you know, Destiny and like Bungie went off on their own. That became huge, and like now they're just doing their own thing. And they you know showed like, hey, we're making expansions. We already have a plan for expansions for like the next like 4 years of Destiny, even past that. So like they're just kind of set. And you know, so I think like a lot of studios probably notice stuff like that. Not even just Destiny, but like a lot of those big multiplayer games. Like, you know, you have Call of Duty has become Warzone more than it's become like the big yearly like games in some ways, in my opinion, at least. Like, because I feel like that gets,
for sure.
Granted, it's like obviously it's always getting updated, like, and always getting stuff.
And it's in each
like,
Call of Duty, but yeah.
But like, you know what I mean? Because like it feels like they can just kind of keep promoting that, and like. And in some ways that just lets them kind of just do whatever, like, and it's like, oh yeah, we do have that yearly Call of Duty. We'll show that whenever, you know, like it kind of feels like they've just kind of moved on to that stage just because they have Warzone to be kind of this thing that they can always kind of promote as like, here's the premier Call of Duty that you can jump into right now.
It's, as far as I know, it's like the same player base. Like if they bought the new player like Call of Duty and play Warzone in that, it's going to be the same group of players in Warzone from like anyone playing the old game as well. So, you know, they've figured it out. That is the right way to do it, and it's, you know,
yeah. And even weirdly enough,
it's like, very weird how it just kind of happened.
Yeah,
you know, that's just how it is now.
And like weirdly enough, like Nintendo's games are like not that far off from being like kind of servicey too. Like you look at something like Smash, that's had DLC for 3
Animal
years.
Crossing for sure.
Animal Crossing like has had DLC for years.
Which I think is the biggest no show at E3. Honestly,
yeah.
You don't got anything to say about this game.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
You hear how much it sold?
Yeah, they have to be cooking up something. I feel like.
Yeah. I feel like they have an Animal Crossing Direct for sure coming up of like, hey, here's the next year in updates. We're going to tell you like, here's our you know, roadmap basically.
Or even just like, not even just like a roadmap style thing, but just like, hey, we're going to make like a significant almost expansion like thing for this game and just drop it on you. Cause like they have been doing those, they've been doing the yearly or like the monthly kind of seasonal events still, but they're just kind of the same thing they've been since the release. Excuse me. So I think they'll change it up, because I know that they even did that with the 3DS version, and the 3DS version was like by no means as big as this one was.
Yeah.
I don't think there was too much else though, because like
they mentioned Metroid Prime 4, which I think is significant. You know, they
acknowledged that it exists, which was more than Bayonetta 3 got.
Which again, I made a literal bet saying, will someone utter the words The Elder Scrolls 6, and somebody did, and I was honestly fucking blown away by that. I was like, Phil Spencer just said Elder Scrolls 6 out loud, which is more than I expected.
Right. Yeah.
So same for Metroid Prime 4. It's basically in that same category. It's coming. You know, let it cook.
It's coming. They're figuring
Retro's working on it. I trust them.
And even like a minor thing, but like there wasn't any Pokemon here, but that's kind of surprising because Pokemon has been just kind of doing their own thing for a while now.
Yeah, and like we got the announcements of the remakes and RCS earlier this year. Like, we'll definitely get like another specific Pokemon Direct once we get closer to the. I'm blanking on the 2 remakes that are coming out this year.
I mean, Pearl.
Yeah,
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Yeah, once we get closer to that, we'll probably get like a full breakdown of that, and then at the end of it, we'll probably get like a little more.
Finally, figure out what RCS is. Like, what is that?
and hopefully get some better footage of it that isn't running at 20 frames per second.
Hopefully by then the Switch Pro is real, so they can actually be like, let's actually properly show this game now.
Yeah, here's the 60 FPS footage we've been hiding.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah, please. And also like it just it's they've been going pretty hard on its 25th anniversary of Pokemon, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's like even more secrets and other stuff. Actually, there is a news item, so I guess like we've kind of covered E3. I could just jump to this news item.
Yeah, I feel like we got that.
Have anything else you want to talk about E3? But I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Just a shout out to WarioWare because I'm very excited for WarioWare, and I love some WarioWare. It's like the main reason I still have a 2DS XL is so I can play WarioWare Gold.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm just excited to finally have that on the Switch. 1-2 Switch should have been WarioWare.
Yeah. I'm finally. That. It looks cool too. Like I like it's like a little bit different of like you have the different characters you can play as. It's cool.
And like they have like different abilities, so you can like take on like specific like mini games different ways. Like like little stuff like that. I'm like, I've never thought about the evolution of WarioWare, but like that's a cool little cool little thing to see how they implement.
That's another one I recommend if you didn't go watch the Treehouse 4. I'd go watch that because they have like cool gameplay breakdowns of like how that works, because it's like you're essentially like not just picking one character when you go into like a set of games. You pick 3 and then it rotates between the 3, and it's the same if you do it's the same if you do like co-op, because it showed like co-op. So like basically like 2 people each pick 3 characters, and then you like do a micro mini game as one character, and the next one starts and it switches you to another character and then switches through. I thought that was just
it's a random factor. I like that.
Exactly. Yeah, like it keeps that.
That.
It keeps that randomness factor, and
keep
also
you on your toes.
Yeah, and I feel like it keeps those micro games more fresh for longer because you have a bunch of different characters to play as. So that game looks cool. I'm
excellent.
Stoked for that. But let's jump into news. We already talked a little bit about Smash. Sakurai showed off Kazuya. He did his whole 40-minute video of doing the crazy stuff that Sakurai always does in those videos.
Yeah, Sakurai is he's coming to his own as such a charismatic person.
He did a full breakdown and showed like the music, showed the trailers, showed the Mii costumes, and it was pretty savage. I know a lot of people were upset by the Mii costumes.
Yeah, fuck Dante.
Yeah, Dante.
Got him.
Yeah, Dante's fucking fucked.
It's just like when Sans got announced as or no, not Sans.
Cuphead.
No, the other. No, was it Sans? Was it Sans who he got
Sans is one of the
Mii
costumes.
The Mii costumes, and people were pissed.
Because gonna be his hero character get wrecked. But that happened, and so I just I don't think we played Kazuya yet, so we don't really need to get too deep into it. But
he seems cool.
He seems cool. You got the I should shout out that Sakurai did like double down on like the next character is the last character for Smash Ultimate. I'm done.
This is it.
I'm done.
Stop asking.
I want to know what, since y'all like y'all have kind of like paid attention more to the cadence of these releases and have checked them out whenever the new characters come out. Who you got?
I mean, we talked like that, theoretically this should have been a Pokemon at some point.
Yeah.
This one, the one that we just got, or the last one.
I was definitely really feeling a Pokemon, even though it's definitely not the most exciting one.
But
just like there's always been
Sakurai actively acknowledging that this is the last character that's going to appear in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I feel like it's going to be a big deal. And I have no idea. I mean, like, it could just end up being something like Crash Bandicoot, and it's like whatever. And that's fine. That is a big deal to a lot of people. Yeah. And that's a big deal video game wise, because
finally do the Grinch.
The Grinch makes his appearance. The Grinch steals Christmas. That's how he comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you want my like heart and soul pick, just because I love him and I love the franchise, Sora is the one I would want, and it would be cool. He'd be a cool character. Who do they go for? It'd be cool if it was like a real crazy Nintendo character. Sakurai's like, I got one to go out on, motherfuckers, and this is it.
Waluigi.
Yeah, that's it. Waluigi.
I'm in. Finally. Yeah.
This is probably Sakurai's last Smash character. I mean, realistically,
yeah.
There's a possibility we could get him back for one more Smash game in the distant future, but this could be it for a while. So I don't know. I feel like he's got to go out big. Whatever he wants.
I think I feel like when you say going out big, I really I think of the last kind of character that people are clamoring for. I feel like, in my opinion, is Gino, and so I feel like if they were to go out, it would be that character, just in the sense of a character that is super requested from that pretty hardcore Smash Bros fan base of there was a lot of characters that came with Ultimate like King K. Rool and Ridley originally, who are very highly requested. Banjo Kazooie off in the DLC,
Banjo is mine. I was so happy.
Those characters were if you go into the Smash Brothers Reddits, which I don't actually recommend. but if you
just avoid Reddit.
Yes, that too. But those are definitely characters that were super highly requested for not even before Ultimate. You could go back to when the Wii game Brawl was announced, and people were requesting those characters then, and Gino was a character then too that was he's been requested just as long as those characters, I feel and I feel is in those group of characters. So I feel
in that echelon,
if Sakurai was to really be all right, this one's for you Smash fucking weirdos, it would be Gino.
I honestly, talking about it now, I really feel like it's going to be someone that Sakurai wants to do. It's going to be someone that he's wanted for a while. It's got to be his choice.
Yeah.
Because
that's true.
Not that he's an egomaniac. I think he wants to choose something that would be fun for him. I really feel like that's what he'll go with.
See, I don't think you're wrong, but I think personally for me, that's a lot of what these kind of fighting game characters have been.
Sure. Maybe he's gotten enough of it.
I don't know if that's I don't know if that's what that's been though. I feel like that's been more
Bogart for sure was that, but maybe not all of them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just been more of a celebration of fighting games in general, and totally. Acknowledging those different aspects. And I mean, he could put himself in the game, honestly.
Honestly,
I could see that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could also see he ends on Toad or some shit.
That'd be great.
Fuck it, it's Toad,
Toad.
That's where he leaves off his career. But because that'd be hilarious too, because we start off with looking at the DLC fighters of we start off with Piranha Plant and then end with another random Nintendo character. Fuck it, it's Toad.
Yeah.
It's Trixie Kong.
It's Trixie Kong.
Yeah.
Here's a shy guy. Have fun.
Yo, I would fuck with that actually.
That would be fun. Because it would be silly. If it turns out to be just kind of in the flavor of a Game & Watch or a Duck Hunt of where it's it's not gonna be this cool badass character that you're gonna replay the trailer for all your friends with, but it'll be something fun that feels it makes Smash and it's part of the game that makes you smile. I could totally see it being something like that, just because that's a good note to go out on.
Yeah, just a totally out there character. I'd be down for that too, considering a lot of the characters for DLC overall have been sword fighters or fighting game characters. Just having a more off the wall character would be fun. I'd be down for that too. And that won't probably be that far off. That'll probably be the fall. We'll probably
he said it would be this year, right?
Yeah,
but not for a while.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel like it could be Game Awards.
That's definitely Game Awards.
Yeah, it's end of the year. Okay, yeah.
Good way to go out.
That's true. That is for sure. But yeah, that's your Smash update. Another game appeared again, because I think this was announced last year. Pokemon Unite. It was in it was just in a random Pokemon Direct that they did, and they just showed it and they were here's a Pokemon MOBA we're making, and then they just never, maybe they did talk about it again, but I remember not ever seeing much about it.
Not a lot, not
And then,
in a big way.
yes.
I don't think they talked about it.
But then fairly recently, they finally just put out this trailer that was like a whole thing of like, here it is. It's Pokemon Unite. It's coming out this month. They didn't give a specific date, but it's coming out on Nintendo Switch first this month, and then it'll be in September coming to mobile phones, and it'll have cross play and cross progression between all that stuff. It'll be free to play, but or I think they used the Nintendo term. It's free to start, I think is what they called it as the
Classic Nintendo terminology.
Classic Nintendo, yeah.
And honestly, even I'm somebody who's like, I've not ever really tried or played a MOBA. Like I kind of watched this and I was like, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, like they evolve while you're fighting and
like
stuff. That's cool. There's
the
cool Pokemon
thing.
stuff in here.
That's the thing that's called like you're like kind of battling over time, and like all the Pokemon have like their own like kind of like I guess a class or like play style of like, all right, there's like speedy offensive characters who are like Gengar and another character, and they're kind of like faster and do more damage, but they're like don't have as much health. And then there's like support characters or more tanky characters like Slowbro and I think Mr. Mime. And then there's like healing characters, and like there's all kinds of stuff. And like you said, like there's characters will start off like as their base evolution at the start of the match. Like I think like Charizard is in one of the classes. You start as a Charmander, and then as you fight the creeps and whatever the stuff you do in a MOBA, they'll level up and evolve into a Charizard by the
end. There's a jungle in this game, like straight up. Yeah, they have a jungle in it.
It has all like the MOBA trappings.
The thing is, like, I don't know if
all the skins and stuff too. Like I saw a lot of these skins are actually pretty amazing. Where it's like, here's a Snorlax in a pineapple costume, just because why not? And it looks completely ridiculous.
I don't know if it's like if it should be infuriating or if it should be like just of course, but like Nintendo gets it like perfectly right on a thing that you like most people aren't going to care about, like crossplay, cross progression, day one, right. Yeah. There, and it's like I don't give a shit about this though. God damn it!
It's like, oh, you're doing all the right things, but for the wrong game.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think the thing that makes that happen is I think this game is with I think it's
Tencent right on the logo.
I think
so
it
yeah.
is like Tencent, like the people who came from. I think it's like the same development team.
People who made cross progression.
Yeah, who like made. I think they made like Call of Duty Mobile and some other really really big mobile games.
I mean, they were never. Tencent makes everything.
So.
Yeah,
it
does look cool. It honestly, I'll give it a shot.
I'm willing to give it a shot as well as somebody who like does not give a shit about other MOBAs.
Pokemon makes way too much sense for a MOBA for me to not at least try it.
Yeah, I'm willing to try it, and it's a fun little trailer. It's like a cool little CG trailer, Pokemon running around.
Yeah, at least you get gameplay at the end.
Yeah, and there's gameplay.
Yeah,
there's gameplay. There's like some. I think some people already did previews because there was like a beta people could opt into on phones to try it out. So I think some places did that. Like I know Game Informer did like a video of them playing it and stuff. So yeah, gameplay's out there. It looks decent, and I want to give it a shot. This last one here. This one here, Alex. I found
this is just for us.
This is for us. This is the loophole because there is a streaming version of Control on Nintendo Switch. So I put this just because I wanted to talk about
in like Japan only or something like that.
No,
it's in the US.
It's in the US.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's one of the US streaming ones.
Yeah, it's like a cloud streaming version of Control. I probably wouldn't recommend that.
I tried it. Yeah, it's not great.
But I just wanted to talk about Control because all this stuff was very exciting when it got announced, I think, just yesterday. And that they are expanding the universe of Control with like more video games. So there's gonna like the main one they called out, which like was probably the one that got me most excited, is called Project Condor. And from the general gist I got, it seems like it is essentially a 4-player co-op game in the vein of like a Left 4 Dead.
In the vein of every other video game currently.
Yes, yeah, in the vein of like the whole year of the video games this year. But you're essentially going to like Control style, like altered world events or containments, and like as a co-op
containing them,
and that just sounds fucking cool as shit in my opinion.
Yeah, and like this is
kind of stuff.
This is a bad game to compare it to, so forgive me. But this game could be cooler than this, especially because Remedy themselves are making it. But XCOM: The Bureau If y'all remember this third-person shooter that was in the XCOM universe. But like the idea of that was like, this is them going out in third-person shooter missions, dealing with like actual terrestrial events. Like I feel like it's the same idea of like you're like podunk United States sent out from the bureau in New York to investigate an actual altered world event, and like things are going to get crazy. Yeah. And I feel like you could do like 5 campaigns like Left 4 Dead, and you know, you're replaying them over and over again, and it just different levels of difficulty involve different levels of spooky enemies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It like this could be really great.
Yes. It's just a cool idea. Control's, yeah, definitely one of my favorite games from 2019, and like I think them just expanding that universe and showing more in it is cool. And they also said there's like a blog post they did on the Remedy's website, and they also said in there just like, yeah, we are also making a sequel to Control, like that's also in early development. Like it said, like a proper
Faden will return.
Yeah, proper like full sequel to that game.
Let's get Jesse Faden in. Can we get Alan Wake in Smash Brothers?
Shine his flashlight on dudes.
It's not a lake, it's an ocean. It's just that's our role into that fucking game.
His smash attacks are like words appear on the screen. And
he's getting a new game soon. Epic's working on it. Remedy's working on it. We can believe.
It's like a remake or something, isn't it?
It is a sequel. It is the follow-up. It is
cool.
We don't know much about it. It's just it is the follow-up to the AWE DLC, and it is a follow-up to Alan Wake.
Yeah, but yeah, that was our Control self-indulgent minute.
Hopefully, this 4-player co-op game comes out when there aren't a bunch of other 4-player co-op game comes out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like this one will probably be.
This one feels pretty early on, and all those other ones are coming out like next year and 2 years from now. So
yeah,
you know, hopefully this one will be ready in like 4 or 5 years, and it'll be in a good spot.
Yeah. I think it will. Considering it's still just like a project name, it'll probably be a few years off, but still exciting. Control exciting. That's it for news. I don't think there's like too much else here really. So we can. Unless you guys are feeling good, we can talk about some games we've been playing.
Talk about some video games?
Some video games.
Talk about some video games.
Hell yeah. What have you been playing, Barrett?
No, someone else go. I got to drink some water.
Can I talk about the Breath of the Wild DLC?
Yes, do it.
So I finally... The feelings that Breath of the Wild, the sequel, as it shall be referred to, gave me, I was like, I gotta go back and play more Breath of the Wild, because I'm sure everybody felt that. And also part of me was like, you know, I've played a lot of games since then. I've been ruined by like high performance in games since then. Like, how am I gonna feel genuinely going back to the Breath of the Wild? And even at a lower frame rate, even like in spite of all of it, it's still great.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's such a magical game.
It's crazy how like the parts of that game that are great like transcend like a lot of parts of the medium that are not great. Like how slow you move compared to most video games. It's like, yeah, but like the world just kind of fits the pace, you know. It's like looking at the characters of a Studio Ghibli film and then looking at the world. It's like, oh yeah, these two things just meet in the middle. Like the smoothness of the animation, like the way, like even looking at it on a 4K on a very nice TV that sometimes makes 1080p games not look super great. Like you definitely get some jaggies, for example, when playing Super Mario 3D World, which is a great looking game, but you see some jaggies. Like you can't really tell with Breath of the Wild. It's just like the art style was almost like made with that in mind. It's like amazing how well that game holds up just playing it. And
they went into the studio, they're like, we got to make a game that's going to be literally timeless. Fuck it.
Yep.
And it's just like, I know some people are like super over it, and I get it. I've been on the other side of that, so like I really do understand.
Yes, we're not gonna read your YouTube comments about weapon durability. I'm sorry.
Yes, I like whatever, you know, take or leave it. If it doesn't work for you,
the same people who are like, oh, if it wasn't titled a Zelda game, you know, like people would see it for the average game, and it is. It's like, no, that's Immortals Phoenix Rising. This is something else. This is something else.
Yes, like I've played Immortals, and it doesn't. It's not the same.
It's not.
It's just. It's not the same game. and it's I get like the feeling, but there is a part of it like I definitely noticed like when I was replaying parts of it of like part of it, a big part of it for me is that it is Hyrule, and it's like hearing about like Tabantha is like a new region for Hyrule generally to Breath of the Wild, you know, because there's not necessarily needed to be mountains other than Death Mountain before. So it's like, but like now I feel that, you know, same kind of attachment to it as I would to like the Gerudo Desert or something. But then you go to the Gerudo Desert, it's like this isn't just a desert in a video game. This is more than that, you know. Partly because I can fucking latch my shield to a walrus and skeet through the sand, which is just the coolest thing. It's like shooting arrows on shield back at Moldegas is like the coolest thing. But I finally went and did the DLC. So I did the Champion's Ballad first, and then I actually did go into the Master Sword Trials. And before I even did either of these, I finally did all 120 shrines. I had 21 left.
Wow.
Okay. Knocked them out. I'd never done it. I was like, I need to do this just for myself, and I was glad. It was cool, like seeing all the puzzles I had never seen before. And being like, oh, like, you know, it was, most of them were tests of strength, which I thought was funny. But like there were like 7 to 11 of them that were like actual puzzles and stuff that like there's one that I had never done that was this like seesaw one that like it really fucked me up. Like I could not figure out what to do for the longest time. And it was like one of the stable shrines, so it's like near one of the stables, so they're like everywhere. They're typically the kind of more basic ones, and I was fucked up about it. But the Champion's Ballad adds 4 more regular shrines that you have to do where you can only take a hit to the Great Plateau, and then 12 more shrines throughout the world that are kind of related to each divine beast, and then you refight the divine beast with like preset gear. And then you go to a new dungeon, which like I knew there was a new dungeon, but it'd never been spoiled for me. Like really, and it is like a fucking sick dungeon.
Yep.
Yeah,
it is genuinely...
I'm not surprised it wasn't spoiled because I don't feel like a lot of people talk about Champion's Ballad a lot. Like I don't.
Yeah,
think
no one like really played it. I feel, and it came out late. You know, it was very late, and there was a lot going on that whole year. So like I don't blame people.
Yeah.
Even I never got to it, for example. But like the dungeon it's in the shape of a giant lock. Like an actual lock, and it's so cool. It felt the most like a Zelda dungeon to me. Like it felt very dungeon, and I liked that every time you released one of the locks, the music added another layer to it, and the track that played by the end of it was very good. Yeah, and I didn't know about the boss to this dungeon, which I'm not going to spoil.
Oh, good!
It's so good, and like so Mike, cool. you would talk to me.
Hold on. It's been how many years since this DLC?
We can talk about it.
We need to fucking talk about this boss. We're like they knew what they were doing there. Where it's like like you see these monks at the end of every shrine, you, like for hundreds and hundreds of hours, you see these guys, and then to have one of them fucking move and like get up and be like,
creepy.
All right,
and he fucking fights
creepy
you
as hell, and then you have to fight it, and it turns like it makes a million of itself, and then it turns giant at one point. It is seriously, I think it is the best boss fight.
It's on Final Destination above the Great Plateau in the rain.
Yep.
And it's like it's so epic. I will say the one thing I'll throw against it is like the music is weirdly like kind of like jokey. It's just like kind of weirdly circus music at the time.
It feels
and I'm like, this should be
super
epic.
It feels similar to who's the big dude who's the leader of the assassin group.
The Yiga clan.
The Yiga clan, like when you fight the Yiga clan boss, and it's like kind of jokey because he's like a big idiot. Like it does, that music does kind of fit.
It should have been like straight up the music that you fought Ganondorf with from Wind Waker. Like because that was the setting. You know,
that was the exact same vibe. Exactly.
Yeah, it was awesome. But otherwise, it was epic. You know, it felt so exhilarating. It felt like a real payoff to that. Like. Because it's a chunky, like this took me like 15 and a half hours to do this, all these shrines and stuff. They're good shrines. More than anything, like each of the 3 shrines, like kind of pieced together in each region, felt kind of like a dungeon. Like the way that they were set up, they were way longer and bigger, and they had a more of a dungeon like approach to their design. Yeah,
and they each end with a boss fight.
Yeah, and it was cool. Like it was a really satisfying DLC. You know, like. It felt like a lot. was the only point where it felt like the breaking up of things into shrines was a detriment, right? Like for this, if it had just been like back to back to back to the shrines, but you know, of course they had the kind of world based puzzles for you to solve, and that's how they amended that. But yeah, it was great. The motorcycle's cool. You know, I wish it was faster, but again, like that's kind of like if you were going like way too fast in Breath of the Wild, it would kind of break the whole video game. Yeah. But it is cool. And then you know, I did the Master Sword trials, which I had tried before and like was unable to do, and
it's
I didn't
heartbreaking when you get so far in, and then you're nowhere. Like, oh god,
but getting through it is like harrowing and satisfying, and it feels good, and like that moment when you walk up to all the monks looking at you.
That's what I was gonna say.
And it's good, and so like the thing,
you know, the Easter egg with those monks.
Are they? I don't.
The sages.
They're like they're doing the same poses as the 7 sages from Ocarina of Time when they're about to put Ganondorf into the I want to call it the Twilight Realm, but I know it's not called that in Ocarina of Time.
Sacred Realm.
Yeah, the Sacred Realm, where they like put him in there. Like those are the like each pose, which is like super fucking rad.
Yeah, and the just the little ting at the end, and I don't know, you know, my ear is not the best it's ever been, but it like having watched the Breath of the Wild trailer and stuff, like the ting of it sounds like the Master Sword talks to you in Fi's voice at the end of the Master Sword trials. It's just a second. It's like, ooh, it gave me like chills, like straight up in game. I was like, that was like magic that just happened, because you know, I was there in 2011. All right, I forged the sword with the magic fire. Okay?
Oh man.
And Fi talked to me way too much the whole time. So like here's just a little bit of it, and that sound that she makes, like,
hey man, it was still emotional when you have to say goodbye to her.
I cried for sure, like a little baby, because that's me. But yeah, it was like doing all that, and then having that like little ting from Fi to kind of be the cherry on top at the very end of me kind of revisiting Breath of the Wild. It was like, I didn't know that game could like still be as captivating as it was, you know, 4.5 years ago, but it hasn't missed a beat at all. Yeah. And what a great thing to be able to say.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really it. I played some other stuff on Switch, but
that
was the stuff.
Breath of the Wild, so much good can be said about Breath of the Wild still, and I'm probably gonna definitely.
If you haven't played the DLC, to everyone out there, go play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Recommend the DLC. It's great.
It's very good.
I definitely will do probably another playthrough myself. Probably sometime.
Yeah, I have another playthrough as well that I'm doing
soon.
I had my save game. I reloaded and went back and did all the DLC, and then I started another playthrough.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
But yeah, so good.
All right, Bear, are you ready for a game you've been playing?
I am ready for a game that I've been playing. Are we just doing like one at a time, or
whatever you're feeling? If you want to shout out something, go for it.
I also want to shout out Breath of the Wild, which is a game that I can easily pull up on my Switch when I'm directing shows during the workday that don't like require a lot of like technical stuff. And so I've been kind of like going through and trying to like clear out and find shrines that I've never gone to before, and I've got the most I've ever gotten in a playthrough. So I'm at like 90, so I have like roughly 30 left to do, and so I'm going through, and a lot of them are like shrine quests and like trying to figure out like what the hell to do, like make them pop. Like I had that moment where I posted as much as I could save, because you know the Switch only lets you save like 30 seconds of footage in certain games, and there's like this weird mound, and then like it starts like lightning starts striking down, and you go on top of this like weird little mound.
Oh yeah,
and there's like kind of like a little dent on the top, and you're like, oh, and then I dropped something metal onto it, ran away, and then made lightning strike on top, and then blew up, and then there's a shrine inside. I was like, that's fucking rad. Like the way that they can like teach you to like experiment with the physics in that world is just so special. So also shout out to Breath of the Wild. I said,
just real quick, with the shrine thing, like going and recollecting them, like when I did it finally and got like the last 20 or so that I had to get, I went to all of them first and then I fast traveled back and did them all back to back. Feels super weird. It like it feels like you're being thrown off tempo, and it's like such a dramatic. I did not like it, and I was like, I should have just done these at the time. But like I just wanted to find them and then just fast travel to all of them.
Make sure that you have all of them.
Yeah, and it's weird. So I just wanted to throw that. It wasn't bad, but it was weird.
It's like, this isn't right for this game.
This isn't right.
It's
so weird.
I mentioned that I went to Cleveland. The kind of main game that I was playing when I was vacationing was a comfort game, playing a SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. That game I did not expect to run well, and it actually runs slightly better than I was expecting it to. Still a lot of frame drops and stuff like that. Like, it definitely does not run as well as it does on like a PS4 or Xbox One, but it was fun to just like have it on the go. And like I love that game. It's like such a special memory from my childhood and stuff like that. So that was just kind of fun. It was also like weird, like being back in Cleveland where I was born and raised, and like playing that game, like hanging out with my dad and playing SpongeBob, which is like a show that him and I both like love so much. And yeah, it was a fun little nostalgic trip. And I actually like just finished it last night. I decided like a good chunk of the way through that I wasn't gonna 100% it again, because I did not want to do the whole headache of like collecting a bunch of currency to like pay Mr. Krabs to get all like the extra golden spatulas. I was like, fuck it, like I can have 95 out of 100 golden spatulas. I did the whole 100% when it came out, so I don't need to do that again. And the last two really quick, I downloaded Everhood, which was a game that I wanted to play on Switch. I started it on PC, and Imran Khan was on one of his last episodes of Gamescast as a regular member. He had shouted out Everhood, being an Undertale-like, definitely recommended it to Blessing and I. And it was one of those ones where I started, I was definitely digging the vibe. I like the different, I like the kind of different battle system it has going on, or it feels more like there's like a rhythm, dancing, action, whatever the hell you want to call it. And I was into that, a little into the world, and like just how weird it gets really quickly. And then it was just like one of those things. I had it on PC, and it was just like, I don't want to be tied to my desk all the time. So I only play games at my desk that like I need to play at my desk. So it's like I walked away from it, and so I was like, all right, I'll download it on my Switch. I have not started it again, but that is one that I plan to start in the next couple of days, because I'm just kind of like looking for a bunch of like other indies now that I'm done with like Ratchet and Clank. I'm looking for little indies to fill the gap until Skyward Sword and then Death's Door. I'm just looking for little things. So definitely want to
one out you.
What?
Soon.
Have you? I don't know if you checked out before Crosscode.
I feel like that was one that like Andy was telling me to check out or something. I've heard of it, and isn't it like on Game Pass or something like that?
It's on Game Pass, but it's also it might not be on Game Pass anymore. I think it should still be,
because I have it downloaded, but I've still not played it.
But it's also on Switch.
And
it runs well on Switch. So.
Okay. Good to know. And then the last one I want to shout out, because I downloaded it yesterday, and then like I started a playthrough of it, Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, which has come to consoles this week, and so started that. That is it was weird to kind of have flashbacks of my very first playthrough, and I was working at IGN at the time, and having the rest of the office kind of like watch behind me because they'd all played it and I had no idea what the fuck I was playing. And I was like, why did I get tricked into playing this fucking like waifu dating sim thing? And then, so I'm interested to see like what a lot of the changes are. I saw like I think it was like a Kotaku article or a Polygon article saying like it deserves to be replayed like a lot of different times. So I'm interested to see like what are some of the major differences in like the updated version. It's also interesting to see, because there are a lot of like PC specific elements to that game that I was interested to see like how they would translate to being on console, similar to like when Undertale came to console, and there's like a lot of like late game stuff in Undertale where you're like, how are they going to translate that? So it's interesting, like even early on you can kind of see like how they brought that to console, and like how some of those like late game things that you're gonna have to deal with, and like how to figure all that stuff out. I don't want to spoil it too much, because I feel like I kind of like accidentally found that probably like way too early, but it was one of those things where I kind of wanted to poke and prod around. So I'm excited to see
what the changes are. Maybe not so much of experiencing that story again because it's very dreadful and very fucked up. And don't let the cutesy kind of cover lull you into a sense of security because you're gonna get fucked up by that game. So yeah, shout out to Doki Doki.
Doki Doki. I'll go. I just have one game here, and it's the big one that just came out recently. Mario Golf Super Rush. I've been playing. I played a decent amount of it. Super Rush.
Are you feeling rushed out, man?
Yeah, a little bit. It's definitely a game I've been sitting here just like, man, I really want to like this game, but there's definitely some disappointments I have with it for sure. Because
really the near automata of its time.
That's
how I feel about it.
That's a specific Alex O'Neill. That's a specific Alex O'Neill jab. Yeah. Just like for, I guess, background for people, like I would consider myself a Mario Golf like stan. Out of like the Mario sports games, the golf games have always been my favorite. I like particularly the GameCube one is amazing. I don't think there was one on Wii, but the 3DS one was also very good and actually had like pretty good like online play with other people. And this one has some of that, but I think it's missing. I think for me, more than anything, it's just missing a lot of features that I think are like key that like other Mario Golf games have had. Like pretty much the majority of them have, and like they're just not here in this game, and it just adds up for me. I think the first thing is like, I think I've seen a lot of people say is like the single player stuff is not that great. Yeah, it's not that great, but I also personally did not expect it to be that great.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were expecting it. Like
going in like
after Tennis Aces too.
Yeah.
Like
it's kind
only
of
once.
It's kind of just a glorified like tutorial, and like honestly, like I was going through it, just because like I think originally I heard it was just like you had to go through it to unlock the courses, but then I heard like actually you can just go to like normal golf, play 18 holes on a course, and then that just unlocks it that way. So I was like, as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh cool, I don't have to play this shit, cool. And I just went and just played 18 holes of golf and unlocked the stages. So that's fine. But for me, it's like a bunch of stuff of just like when you're golfing. Like I feel like there were like in previous Mario Golf games there was just like a lot more options to just kind of see where like the general ball is gonna like go in different trajectories and things. Where like now it's like you can hit the Y button and it gives you like a big overhead map. Or you like there's this weird like hold the R button down and you get like this weird motion control like look, and it's just it works and you can kind of do it, but it's like still not that intuitive. Where like literally in all the other Mario Golf games, you could just like hit the other stick. Like on the GameCube, you could hit the C stick, where like, and you could just go into like a free camera, and it just like you could hit the stick forward and just go a free camera, and you could see like your actual like whole trajectory of the ball go, and then see where it's gonna land, and like it just worked, and it was like much more of an elegant solution. Which, like, for whatever reason, that just doesn't exist in this game, which is bizarre to me because it's like it's the Switch version. It's the most powerful console this freaking game has been on. So I don't understand like why they just couldn't have a simple feature like that. Like I don't know if it's some weird thing, some choice they made because there's also like the now there's like a mode where you can actually run from your ball moment to moment instead of it kind of just taking you to and from the ball as you hit it. I don't know if it's a limitation because of that stuff, but it still seems weird. I just don't understand why they couldn't just give you a more easy camera to just go see where the ball's landing in certain places, because that can just be bizarre. There's some like other stuff of like in the story mode that you can play like the standard golf where you just you're getting your pars, you're getting your birdies, all that stuff.
18 holes and whatnot.
Yeah, 18 holes. You can do that, and like, but also you can do like the like style where you like hit the ball and it's just you running, and you can like run around and do like the crazy stuff they had in this, where you do the dashes and the super moves. But for whatever reason, in the other modes, like if you just play the normal golf mode versus people or online, you can do standard golf, but without the running. or you could do speed golf, which is like now it's all timing based. Like when you hit the ball, like it's like a 30-second. So you're basically just trying to be the person out of the group that like has the lowest time overall between your strokes, and you like actually like actively running towards the ball. That's the only way you can do that kind of new kind of running between the ball mode. And it's like weird that you can do the one in the single player, but not in this. So I don't know why they made that distinction for playing with friends too. That could just be a thing where like they've already said there's going to be post-launch updates, so they could just be a thing where maybe they add that in later for whatever reason. It's still just weird. Yeah, it's just like a lot of stuff like that of just like, you know, the courses themselves are I think fun, but I think like compared to a lot of the previous games, they don't have as much of the like fun Mario kind of stuff infused into the levels. Like some of them do, like there's like, you know, there's like a cavernous like Ridge Rock Lake is what it's called, and you'll have like those cool like stone ball like guys that look like golems from Pokemon that like roll across the stage, and like the big cloud faces from Mario Odyssey, and they'll like blow gusts of wind on the track, and like they're around, but like they're not really like that obtrusive compared to I feel like some other stuff. And the only like more like Mario kind of looking stage is the last one you unlock, which is like a Bowser Castle stage where there's like, you know, Bowser statues and lava, and it's all, you know, Bowser Castle themed, and it's cool, but it's like kind of the only one that's like that, where the other ones are like here's kind of just like a you know a pretty standard looking golf course, but also, you know, there is some Mario
here's
things.
Green Hills
But there is some
and
Mario
at that
stuff
point
on the side, and it's like
Yeah, and then at that point it's probably like too little too late with like everything else that you're doing.
Yeah, where's the Donkey Kong jungle?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like there's like a cool Donkey Kong tropical jungle course.
Lame. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, so just like I appreciate they at least said like, hey, you know, they already showed like the first post-launch thing in the direct that was in. It's like, hey, here's New Donk City as like a course that you can go around, which is pretty cool. Like that's kind of the stuff I want to see. But I definitely just hope that like, besides just like, you know, new courses and new characters, which will probably be mostly what it is, there's also like some updates like that of like, yeah, here's like new modes that you can do with online with your friends. Here's some more like quality of life. Oh yeah, because like another quality of life thing that's weird that's not in this game. It's like, even if you like just go into like a standard golf match with like 4 CPUs or whatever, the only options it gives you, like if you, let's say you do like 6 holes and you set it for 18, if you wanted to like you can't like save a mid game thing. It basically just, if you pause it, it'll give you the options of quit out or restart from the first hole. Like you can't just like save. Jesus. You can't just like save a hole, and it's like that's super weird too. Like it's like
the Returnal problem all over again.
Like why can't I just like save it? Because you could, again, that was a thing that was like that was in the 3DS version, it was in the GameCube version, like you could just save like mid-match and just pick it up when you come back again. So it's just, especially for a Switch game, which is like partially a handheld game, you know. Exactly. It's just, it's weird stuff like that. So I'm just hoping, you know, they've at least said like, yeah, post launch updates are coming, so hopefully it's, you know, there's also some quality of life.
I'm thinking about what they can fix from the feedback that they've gotten so far. Yeah, that makes sense.
I hear Aces, like Mario Tennis Aces, like got to a pretty cool place by the time they were done updating that game. So
it got a lot of character. I know it definitely got a lot of characters. That's for sure.
I know Diddy Kong was put in there.
They're definitely. It was definitely supported. Their balancing for the characters was all over the place all the time. So that's what I'll say about that.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of what I got from the little bit I played that too. But this seems like, honestly, I think they could have maybe because like they were all over the place with tennis, they didn't go as far with some of the stuff for the characters in this one. Because I feel like the super moves you get for each character are like not as interesting as I think they could be, because like some characters have actually like more unique ones, like Yoshi's for instance is like he'll shoot like a big Yoshi, his ball will turn to a big Yoshi egg, and then if it's like, and it's like an area effect, and if it hits a ball in that area effect, it'll turn other people's balls into Yoshi eggs, and that gives them like more like crazy bounce. So like if they hit it and then it lands, it has like a big bounce compared to what it would normally have. But compared to like some other characters like Mario, and I think like some basic characters, they just have like it's just like a basic AoE version of that. Like it doesn't do some trick to the other things that they're doing. So it's like a weird mix like that again too. So again, I think like there's like the core golf is still can be kind of fun. Like me and Quentin Hoffman did a viewpoints video on irrationalpassions.com, so you can just go watch that and you get like, that was like my more initial impressions, but now since I played a bunch more stuff, I like this definitely could have been much better, and I hope they with the free updates it gets there.
Do you think that we're past the point of good Nintendo sports games? Like, do we think we'll ever get back to that era of like GameCube and stuff like that?
That's what I was just thinking. Like, what's going to be the next good Nintendo sports game? I feel like, some people kind of put Mario Kart and Mario Party into that niche. Even though we would probably all say that they're kind of distinct columns.
I think they're definitely a little bit of different columns. But I would say, like, compared to their sports offerings, those games have definitely been way better. Like spin-off Mario games that we've gotten the Switch.
Much more robust, a lot more bigger
8,
feature sets.
Yeah, Super Mario Party, and even this upcoming Mario Party looks.
I wouldn't write anything home like amazingly about the recent Mario parties, and especially with that they're doing this new one. I know the outcry has been like, why isn't this DLC and stuff like that?
Sure.
Which is like an entirely different conversation. But like I remember, even Mario Party, like the most recent one. That came out Super Mario Party. Like it came out and it felt lackluster, and it felt like even
didn't
like
have that online play,
and it like got updated this year for no fucking like reason and stuff like that. And it was like one of those things like, okay, like it launched with only 4 maps, and then it was like, oh, maybe we'll get some more, maybe we'll get some fun throwbacks, and like that never happened either.
Yeah, it never got supported at all.
Yeah, and it's just like outside of the like, I don't know, where do we think Nintendo's at? Like outside of like core
what's
Mario
the next
Zelda?
What's the next sports game they make is my question. Mario sports game. Outside of the Olympic stuff.
I mean, people want a strikers, but then like I'm also at that point where like the team that would be doing the strikers is probably
very
this team.
loud people want strikers.
Yeah, exactly.
Very loud people want strikers.
Yes,
that's
what I'm saying.
Totally.
Would this team do a strikers games? I don't know if they would. Would they do? I feel like we'll get like a sluggers too before we get a strikers. And it would be like more like this.
But exactly, that's what I'm saying. I was like, people are very vehemently asking for a new strikers, but would they actually want the strikers they would get from the people that are currently making the current Mario sports games that have been pretty?
It would not be raunchy at all.
Yeah, no Waluigi cross chopping.
Yeah, we need more cross chops in this game.
Yeah, it would definitely not be as like harsh as those GameCube and Wii ones. Yeah, I don't.
Wasn't it Strikers was the one where they're like, we need to be more careful about like how we portray our characters or some shit like that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Probably if there was a game to do it, it's that way. It's that or like some Paper Mario game where they like all their characters are secretly gay and they're like, oh no, they found out.
Which
is a good thing, by the way.
I don't know what they do with sports.
I feel like
next.
That's why I feel like they're gonna try and make strikers next, because that's the only one with enough fanfare to warrant it. And if they don't figure it out with that one, then I think they might be donezo.
Yeah, they might be done.
Yeah.
At least for a while. We'll get like a Mario. Nintendo doesn't let anything die.
Yeah.
It just goes in the fridge until it's like the Disney vault until it needs to come out again.
Yeah. And I definitely, I ultimately, I am still curious, like, to see where this Mario Golf is in like a couple months when they get like some updates into it. Like, here's a couple more interesting stages, and maybe they do get some of those nice features in there. Like, if they can make it a much better game, then I would be more accepting of like whatever we see next.
I'm just imagining like next year's E3, at the end of their directs, right? And it's like this very serious like Mario trailer. Like he's the only one that we see, and people are like, "Oh man, like are we already getting a new Smash announcement? Like what's going on here?" And then he like fucking runs out onto the pitch, and then like people pop. Like I totally can imagine that shit. Like Andy likes to say,
first.
WND, weird Nintendo decisions. Like I could see it. I do wonder if like if Nintendo's looking at like their metrics of like how well a Strikers game would actually sell.
Yeah,
I think
Again, like I'm convinced it's a lot of loud. It's loud people who really want Strikers. I don't think it's a lot of people.
sure. For sure.
they need to figure out their online before they can make that game more exciting. I think like we
Yeah.
get
They won't do with the Switch.
they're not going to do
They
it
might
until-
do it for the Switch Pro or the Switch 2 or whatever it ends up
Yeah.
being. Like we just gotta like it's dead in the like fucking Switch Online is kind of where it's at, and it's never going to be.
Yeah, it's not going to get better than what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think yeah, we'll see. I think Mario Sports is on timeout probably after this game for a little bit.
Yeah, and that's probably fine because like they can they clearly they're making another Mario Party this fast. Clearly, because that first one, even if it wasn't the greatest, I think it sold pretty crazy numbers. So like it makes sense to go like, all right, yeah, let's just make another one of those. And this one already sounds like a step up from that last one. And I think it's time for new Mario Kart. Personally, I understand. Like I understand. Like
Give it to me.
eight sold super well. I think it's still selling well. Like
It's the gold standard.
I get it.
It
Like,
continues to sell. Like people have never bought it before.
Yeah,
like,
right.
it
Like
just-
top
Yes.
three best selling of the
all
month.
these people who are still buying. It's like when GTA comes out with numbers every month,
Yes,
and you're like,
how?
Who doesn't have
How?
this game yet?
Yeah.
who doesn't have this
Yeah.
fucking game?
Who's
GTA
buying
makes
a
a little more
fourth
sense
copy of
because
it?
it's online and stuff, but there's no microtransactions or like online stuff with Mario Kart.
Yeah.
It's just the game.
It's
Who's
the
still
whole
buying
package.
this game?
Yeah, who's still buying it? It's crazy. And like what is it? Like Mario Kart 8 actually came. Didn't it come out in 2013? Was it 2013? I think it originally came out, or was it 2014?
yeah.
It's 2013 or 2014.
Yeah,
I'm
it's one
looking
of
for it
those.
now.
So like yeah, it's just like I feel like it's just
And
time.
hey, it was good back then too.
It was.
Yeah,
It
it was
is.
great on the Wii U.
Mario,
that was
Mario
like one
Kart.
of the.
I would say Mario Kart 8 is still probably legitimately my favorite Mario Kart. Like it's just that
Yeah,
good
mine
game.
too.
It's the best one.
It's the best one.
It just looks so good. It feels so good.
It's 7 years old.
Yeah.
It's May 29th, 2014. That game is
2014.
7 years old. We need another fucking Mario Kart.
Yeah, I haven't
I
seen a
just
new
feel like the
Mario
big-
Kart track in too long.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I
too
know,
long.
man.
Because
Because that was the exciting thing about Deluxe coming out. Like it was packaged in with all the DLC stuff from the Wii U version,
Mm-hmm.
like better visuals, a couple different, like a new
Battle
mode, with, like battle mode.
Yeah.
Did it add 200cc or was 200cc always?
200 DC was free DLC, free patch update.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so it had all this, and so it was an exciting, like, oh, are they going to keep supporting it and like bring in more DLC tracks and stuff like that? And just like
Nothing.
never happened.
Nothing. And to be fair, you know, they were right. We're all fools. It
Yeah,
fucking
it
still
still
sells.
I know,
Still
and it
sold
still sells
gangbusters.
like fucking hotcakes. Hold on, I want to see what the biggest gap in between releases are. So, and I'm talking like main releases here. So,
So like
Mario Kart 8 in
7 to 8.
2014, and then Deluxe in 2017.
Yeah.
Mario Kart 7 came out in 2011, so that was a 3-year gap. Mario Kart Wii, which I would count, that's another 3-year gap. Then DS, I would label as the other one. That's another 3-year gap from 2008 to 2005. And then Double Dash came out in 2003, so there's a 2-year gap. Super
We were
Circuit,
living good back then.
Super Circuit, which I wouldn't actually. That's a Game Boy Advance one. So
Yeah,
I
the Game Boy
count that
Advance one is the only one that didn't get.
Yeah.
So then Mario Kart 64 came out in 96, and then Double Dash came out in 2003. So that was like the last time we had a 7-year gap. It was from 64
and I
to
remember
Double Dash, man.
people were hungry, but when Double Dash came out,
Yeah,
like
man.
people were fucking hangry for it,
Seriously.
and that's why we played so much.
And that's where we're at again right now. It's
Yes.
like, bro,
Come on.
I love Mario Kart 8 Deluxe so much. It's probably
Yeah.
one of my favorite games
too.
of all time. And is it partly because I'm very good at the game? Yes. And it's one of the
It's so
very few
humble
games
about
where I
it.
can say that I'm very good at that game.
yeah, I get it.
But
I
I
get
just
it.
I need more content, bro. There's only so
Yeah.
many times I can go like the Triforce circuit or
Right.
you know like the
Yeah, I've
the
done
modern
those maps
rainbow.
so many
like,
times.
it's-
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I need new shit. I need new racers too. Like we need Mario Kart again, boys.
We do.
We need
Yeah.
it.
I'm 100% with you, and I think it's just time. Like I don't care. Like maybe Nintendo doesn't see it for whatever crazy reason, but
Like, but straight
No,
up,
they
like
see
once
No, they see it,
they
especially
have
with
to.
like how well it's selling. They're like, we can easily put out because I was on the side of like, there's no way we're gonna get one because Mario Kart 8 keeps selling so well, and then Tim Geddes was the one who convinced me of the other way of like, no, they see it and they see how well it's selling, and they're going to eventually put out another one. So all those same people who keep buying it for the first time month and month, like over the months, are going to see like, oh shit, there's a new one. Yeah, I'm gonna pick that up because this Mario Kart 8 was great.
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
And like, I'm hoping like once Smash Ultimate is done, once the last character's done, like let Mario Kart be the next Smash. Hell yeah! Like give me like every December you announce a new track set. I'm here. I'll be there.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah,
for years, for like 3 years.
Yes,
even this new Mario Party, like have that be like Smash is like, I feel like the one current Nintendo thing where it like actually gets supported at a good like cadence compared to the other Nintendo games, and just like let these other games breathe and get more of their moment to shine. You know?
And I think that might be what they're playing. Maybe that's why they've waited this long. That's what they got to get through Smash. They got to let this have its moment, and it's a big moment. It's a big deal. And then we can transition to the next big deal.
I definitely feel that. And like something we've talked about on a previous Nintendoland with like the potential Switch Pro stuff was I think like also in that same sense, like if you look at Nintendo's next year, 2022, it's kind of like they're doing like the like next iterations of all the big things that hit the Switch the first year it came out. So we're getting Splatoon 3. We're getting Breath of the Wild 2. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was technically that first year.
Yep.
It came out April. So like, yeah, like that would just make too much sense. Like if they're kind of going like, if they're kind of thinking of that thing of like, all right, all the teams that made like the launch Switch year have now had their few years to do things, and now we're sort of coming back to those teams with all the games they've been developing over this time, and Switch Pro. Like it would just make a bunch of sense. Like here's Switch Pro, here's all these games you got with your Switch.
Starting with Breath of the Wild 2, then Mario Kart 9, then Splatoon 3, and then Donkey Kong Odyssey in the end. God, that'd be sick.
Yeah, like they can totally like set that up in some ways of like, and have a bunch of other stuff.
And Rabbids too, yeah,
like Rabbids 2 also. And then they have like a bunch of other just cool stuff like Pokemon Legends Arceus is next year. There's a thing, I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting, like probably some Xenoblade or game or some whatever the fuck.
Probably JRPGs, one of the Monolith's game is probably that year.
Probably also pretty close to being coming out, because I know Xenoblade Chronicles 2 I think was their last really big thing, and I think that was
they did the DLC
2019 I think when that came out. I think but I just think like
Xenoblade 2 came out in 2017.
Yeah, that was.
Isn't that crazy to think?
4 years, yeah.
Okay,
and then
gotcha.
Xenoblade,
they did the definitive edition of that.
They did the definitive edition and the DLC for Xenoblade 2. But their last big game was the year the Switch came out, which is crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. So there you go. Like I think like Nintendo could prime themselves up to be like,
they're quiet for a reason. They're confident.
Here's our Switch Pro. And here's the follow up to all of these really awesome games that came with the Switch, and like here's like the follow ups to those, and like I think people like us I think would be super stoked for all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm fully there for it.
Yeah,
leave it to Nintendo. Also, I was just thinking, leave it to Nintendo to make us care about a game with rabbits in it.
Yeah,
fucking assholes.
I know, only them.
Yeah,
only they could get away with it.
Yeah, only they could get away with it. But yeah, I think Alex, you got any games that's?
I do want to touch like I keep revisiting Hades every time I pick up my Switch. I also been playing new Pokemon Snap, which we talked about last episode.
Yes,
in my like kind of continuous pickups, I very much like taking my sweet ass time with it. Only playing a little bit now. I've done a lot since we last talked. Like I feel like there is a snowball moment where you unlock like 6 stages, and it's like, oh, okay, like so now I'm just like very patiently kind of picking away at each stage. I did the ocean stage, and then the second ocean stage, and then the underwater one. I unlocked all those, and I did the first volcano, the volcano at night, and that was like the last thing I did. Nice. So I'm just taking my sweet time. I'm loving every second. Like that is the game I turn on, and it's like I can't be in a bad mood. It's like the Disney World of video games. Like you cannot be a bad mood. This is the happiest place on earth. Is on this island with these goddamn Pokemon, and it's so real. I'm like looking around like, oh yeah, look, Lapras is here. I can't be sad, and that's just how I feel. But in like picking up Breath of the Wild again and picking up Pokemon Snap as I have been, I'll sometimes jump in for a few runs of Hades. Like I'm very close to like doing everything, like 100% everything in it, which is like, I know it's disgusting.
That's impressive. No,
the only thing like that I haven't done and don't plan on doing would be the there's like statues that you unlock by having a total amount of heat, which is like the extra challenges you can do after you beat the game, and 32 different heat points you would need to get the last statue, which I don't think I'm gonna do. I got the first one, which you need to beat the game with 8 heat or higher, and the next one's 16, and I think the last one's 32, which I think is everything, which I don't want to do. It's just like that the challenge at this point is not the part of the game that's fun for me, because I've been playing on God mode pretty much since the beginning, and it's like progressively gotten easier, even though I've done the heat challenges. I've had fun with some of the hard stuff, but yeah, I'm 100% relationship with just about everybody. I have all of the talismans for everyone just about maxed out. I have just like 2 left, I think. So just like, I think it's 117 or 132, somewhere in that range of number of runs. And just like slowly coming back and finding one more thing to do, finding one more conversation I hadn't heard yet. It's just, what a great game. I'm so excited for more people to play it. I know console players have been waiting a long time. It's going to be on Game Pass, so I know a lot of people are going to be able to play it.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I have to get back into that at some point, because I never actually did finish it, but I got pretty close. Like, I definitely made it to Hades a couple times, but just never actually did the thing.
Truly the first completion to like the 10th completion, which is like the kind of ending point, and then the 10th completion to the true ending, the epilogue ending. It's like such a trip. It completely, especially if you play on God mode and it's maybe progressively getting easier, obviously not necessary, but like that journey is like, it's a completely different game by the end of it, emotionally, and you're so much more familiar with it. It's a trip. It's so worth it, I think.
Cool. Yeah. I'll do that soon. Like you said, I might actually pick that up like on a console and just.
I'm gonna play a little bit on Xbox because of 4K. So.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds pretty nice. All right. Well,
that's it. I think for sure.
I think that'll do it here for the episode, y'all. Unless we got any other games to talk about, I think we went over everything.
No,
that's everything. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Barrett, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out.
Thank you for having me. I was excited to get the call and talk about Nintendo stuff.
Absolutely. What's I'm sure everybody knows you're from Kind of Funny, but what's something you want to shout out? Any recent like piece of content you guys put out that you particularly enjoyed or made or anything?
You can check out youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. I think it's in our E3 2021 playlist. The last video we made was the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 trailer breakdown. So if you want to check that out, and it's Tim Geddes and I for 50 minutes breaking down this minute and 50-second trailer and talking going kind of frame by frame, talking about theories and stuff like that. So that's been really fun.
You've got an upcoming project that I know it's not close, but it might be worth promoting. It's your thing. It's got to do with Batman.
Oh yeah, I've been slowly working on some Batman video essays, which not really ready to talk about. Just been kind of like teasing them here and there. If we had raising money at the beginning of the month or at the beginning of the year back in January for Patreon.com. So that's kind of funny, and Patreon.com. So that's kind of funny games. And one of the milestones that we hit is like we raised a certain amount of money. I would make some Batman video essays, which is a departure from the content you might be used to seeing from me, if you know me from Zelda in review or Assassin's Creed in review, which is very much long form, deep dive. Holy shit, let's talk about every single aspect of every single one of these games. Content, the video essays for each of the mainline Batman video games that I'm making is going to be very different, but still kind of in that similar beaten path of Barrett deep dive. Let's talk about stuff that I'm passionate about, kind of stuff. So yeah, look out for that sometime later this year, I would say.
That's like the next Barrett in review, and I know you have a fan base of that.
It's not an interview, but it's the next Barrett project, and the interesting thing of like why it's kind of taken so long. Why it's kind of taken so long is because like Zelda in review and Assassin's Creed in review are both like thought of like I knew what I wanted them to be like when I thought of those ideas, whereas like the Batman video essays was something that like Tim and I had talked about doing last year to like build up to the release of Gotham Knights, and it was like this kind of cool idea that we had, and then Gotham Knights got delayed, and we're like, all right, that kind of ruined some of our release plans for that. Right. But then it kind of turned into this thing like we knew we wanted it to be a project, but we started that off without me really having a vision of what I wanted those videos to look like. So yeah, it took a little longer to like get like scripts out and collect a bunch of footage and stuff like that. We are in like the post-production spot for it now. And that's another exciting thing for these Batman Arkham videos is that they will be edited by the one and only Roger Courtney, who I fancy myself as a video editor, but like, you know, Roger Courtney is one of the best video editors of all fucking time. So that's another exciting thing of like the kind of the final product will definitely have a bigger panache than I would say Zelda in review or Assassin's Creed in review do. So yeah, check out the Breath of the Wild 2 sequel trailer breakdown. Check out Zelda in review if you haven't. Check out Assassin's Creed in review if you haven't. And then be on the lookout for Batman Arkham video essays by myself and Roger Courtney later this year. And then also you can follow me at Sadboy Barrett mainly on Twitter. I sometimes post photos of my dog on Instagram, but that's pretty much it.
Excellent.
Courtney catalog.
The Courtney catalog. I like
that. I'm gonna make it a thing. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's like the what's the Criterion collection? It's the Courtney catalog.
Yeah, the Courtney catalog. I like that.
That's the point of comparison I'm drawing.
It's the poor man's Midwestern version of the Criterion collection.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's awesome. But yeah, if you're here with us, we're Irrational Passions. We're a tiny video game website. Of course, Alex is the head honcho. He's been doing this for quite a long time. Yep. So yeah, but this is once again our Nintendo show. Thanks so much for listening. We're on podcast services and on YouTube. So wherever you're watching it, leave us a comment and let us know what you think, or just like the video. I appreciate it, or just leave us a rate and review on iTunes. So Spotify has that shit, right? I don't know.
I think Spotify has ratings.
I honestly don't even use.
I don't know
that much, but
Apple Podcasts.
But hey, at the end of the day, if you're listening to it, we appreciate you. I'm Mike Burgess at MikeIP_ on Twitter, Alex O'Neill at Alfire27, and at Irrational Pod.
Yep.
Feel free to follow us on Twitter and see what we're doing. But that's it. Thanks everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.